Hey guys, it's Adam and welcome to my channel. What you are looking at right here is what can be placed in either the genus Kalanchoe or in its own genus Bryophyllum with several other very similar species. I like to place them in the genus Bryophyllum because I find that they have slightly different care instructions than normal Kalanchoes, such as this Kalanchoe, Luciae, or Flapjacks, also called paddle plant. So I like to place this group of plants into a whole separate genus and a whole separate group. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about Bryophyllums. This is Bryophyllum digrumentiana, also called the mother of thousands plant, or Mexican hat. Right here, Bryophyllum hoftoniae, which is a cross between this plant right here and another plant that I'm going to show you later in the video. And it's kind of a mix between this plant and another one. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about caring for and propagating the mother of thousands plants, because I know there's a lot of videos on propagating them. There's not a lot of videos on how to care for them just as plants. So in case you don't want to have to rely on propagating them over and over and over again because your plants keep dying, I would say that this is a very good video for you. So first of all, with mother of thousands plants, they can be a little bit tricky to find, at least in my experiences. I've checked several nurseries for years for these guys, and this was the first year that I've ever been able to find them. And I got these plants a while ago. I got another one as well when I was there, and they weren't too expensive. They were the same price as all the other succulents at that nursery, so about $6.29. $6.29. So it was a good buy. And they were a lot smaller when I first got them. My largest often was about that tall when I first got it. And my digrumentiana it only had a few leaves and it looked like a small rosette. And it didn't really have any plantlets on it yet. None of them really did have very many plantlets. So I was very happy when it started to grow and started to get plantlets, and it happened very quickly. These grow fast. These are succulent plants that are very closely related to Kalanchoes, and they grow extremely fast for succulents. This thing has put out so many new leaves since I first got it. As far as feeding, every week or every other week is pretty good for them, for feeding them, and watering only in their active growth season. In the winter, probably best not to fertilize them at all. In the summer, though, fertilize them every week to every other week. I'm doing it every other week while they're indoors, and then once they're outdoors and it's hotter and the soil's going to dry out quicker, I'm going to feed them probably once a week. But they like a lot of food and a lot of water, especially for succulents. And I used to have digrumentiana, but then, cats attacked it. I had actually a lot of plantlets that I brought back from my trip to Florida. I brought them back to Iowa, and I planted them and they were growing well, but then the cats decided to use the flat that they were in as a litter box and destroyed every single one of them in the process, which was really frustrating. So I had to wait about 2 years to get my hands on another one, but now that I have, I'm very happy. As far as watering, whatever half of the soil has dried out, I like to water them again. Soil should be very well draining. I've got this one that has a lot of perlite and peat moss, and this one's got a lot of sand. This was just the one that came in the nursery, but it should be a peat-based mixture with some sand, vermiculite, and perlite added in whatever ratio you find most well draining and most fitting your situation. However, these are some of the more moisture-loving succulents, so while you don't want to drown them, they should be watered just a little bit more frequently than most. Potting and repotting, they should be good to go for a while. I'm probably going to end up repotting at least my digrumentiana for sure next year, because the digrumentiana grows fast and it gets very big. However, some of them, like this little, like this guy here, I don't know how big it's going to get. But depending on how big it gets, you want to repot them sort of semi-frequently, I guess. I'll get back to you on that. There's just not a lot of information, so I'm just going off of what I know and what I've observed. I know that these plants flower, and then those flowers also produce plantlets, but let's talk about the plantlets. You probably noticed on the edges of these leaves that they've produced small, what looks like little flowers almost, or almost, it looks like little cabbages a little bit. But if you didn't know, the reason that this plant is called the Mother of Thousands plant is because when we propagate plants, when we multiply or clone our plants, we call the original plant the mother plant. Well, this plant will clone itself, so the mother plant is literally over time going to become a mother of thousands of these little plantlets, and you can see them all around the edges of this leaf. So they develop very quickly, and they form around the edges of nearly all the leaves on the plant. You know, maybe one or two will get left out occasionally, but these bottom leaves at some point should start to get some. I'm seeing that they're starting to indent again, like they're about to start holding some plantlets. But especially the top leaves really grow a lot of plantlets. And the thing with these, they're very invasive. Down in Florida, they did not grow in pots. They grew it just in the soil, just in the normal soil, just in the ground, and it was very, very, there were a lot of them. They were very invasive because these little plantlets on the edges of the leaves, in the wind, they will blow and they will fall off and land in the soil. When I'm watering my indoor plants, if I'm watering them or if I have to move a plant, even if it's not a Mother of Thousands plant, I've moved this succulent that's sitting next to my Mother of Thousands and accidentally bumped the Mother of Thousands ever so slightly, and a bunch of the plantlets have fallen off. Sometimes they land on the floor, sometimes they land in the same pot as the original plant, sometimes they land in other pots, and so they'll kind of get invasive. But if you wanted to take some off and grow them, you can, and they grow very fast. So they'll start with one set of leaves that's open and another set that's closed, as you can see here. And as soon as they fall in, as soon as they fall and land on some soil, which there's a plantlet somewhere in this pot, I'm not going to go find it, they'll start to open up, as you can see. And this only took about a week for them to open up, and they're already getting a bud for their third set of leaves. I've got a cell tray here, and I've got a couple more in here. I like to spray these with water, with warm water every day to kind of give them a drink. These are a different species. These are Bryophyllum tubiflorum. These are the other type of plant that this hybrid comes from. So these are the tubiflorums, and they're supposed to be a lot harder to grow. They're very small. They're just tiny compared to the Diagramentianum. And yeah, I don't know exactly how long this is going to take, but it shouldn't take too long, and then we'll have some pretty good sized plantlets, or pretty good sized full size plants. Now, anyways, these little stems to the side, these are offsets or pups. Or maybe, no, they're not offsets. These ones are suckers. These are suckering plants, I believe. Suckers around the base of the plant can also be divided, or you can take those, you can just cut the stems and root those as stem cuttings. I might try to divide them. I've never tried that because I've never had offsets suckers. I'll just call them pups. I've never had pups on any of my Mother of Thousands before. You could also take a leaf off of the plant and set it on some well-draining succulent rooting mixture and spray the leaf every day with some warm water, and the leaf will start to die. But as it does, it will produce more plantlets around the edges of the leaves, just like if it were on the plant. And then all of those will root. And then once the leaf shrivels away, you can actually remove all the little plantlets and grow them as mature plants. And the last method, you could actually take a stem cutting, but since these are usually single-stemmed plants, I would recommend one of the other methods. I'm going to show you guys my tubiflorum, and then I'll show you the leaf cuttings. So here is my Bryophyllum tubiflorum, or chandelier plant, which is another type of Mother of Thousands. And I used to have, this plant used to be 3 different stems, 3 different little individual plants, but you usually plant them together. But I lost one of them, it kind of rotted, and then this one started to rot too, so I actually took the top off because the growing tip was one of the things that was rotting, as well as the base of the cutting, so I just kind of took it out. And I don't know why, because it wasn't moist in here either. it might be a fungus gnat problem. I do see a couple of them right now. Not too many, but there are a few, and I'm trying to get rid of them as quickly as possible. If anyone has any suggestions, that'd be nice. But anyways, so this one is called the chandelier plant for 2 reasons. If you look at it from the top, it actually only produces plantlets on the ends of the leaves, on the tips, not all the way around. And when there's 2 or 3 plantlets minimum on each leaf, it actually kind of looks like a chandelier. Also, the flowers kind of grow like a chandelier. They kind of grow in all directions and then hang down, and they look like little miniature chandeliers. These are the Tubiflorum, and then I'm going to show you one more species of Mother of Thousand that's actually in the Kalanchoe genus, and this is Kalanchoe Gistanus bonnieri, and this is called donkey ears, and every succulent grower dreams of having one of these in their collection. This has a couple of fungus gnats flying on it, and if they even so much as, you know, begin to touch this plant, if I see fungus gnats emerging from the soil, I will murder them all. Like, I'm probably going to have to figure out what I should do for these right now, because I'm not waiting. They're not attacking this plant. There's no way. Absolutely not. This is too precious, too valuable. It's a rare plant. I'm not going to let that happen. So yeah, all these little guys in here, yep, like you're gonna die. I'm gonna make sure of it. So, yeah, that's another one. And they actually get plantlets only on the leaf tips as well, but they kind of hang down and their leaves will touch the soil and they'll root. It's a little difficult to explain. You probably don't have a clear picture, but I'll show you when the time comes. I quickly wanted to show you the Hoftenii leaf cuttings that I took. These were just leaves that fell off when I started to when I tried to transplant them. A lot of the leaves fell off, so I'm like, I'll root these, I guess. And I wanted to see if they'd grow like normal succulents where plantlets come out of the end, or if they'll grow on the sides of the leaves like some Kalanchoes that can produce plantlets. They formed around the sides, so there's going to be a lot more than 1 or 2 plantlets per leaf, and these guys already have some roots on them as well. So once the mother leaf shrivels away, we'll have some plantlets that we can grow into mature plants. That's all I have to say about these Mother of Thousands plants. They're very simple, very easy to grow. Get yourself one, and if you can't find one in a nursery, get some leaves or some stem cuttings off of like Etsy or eBay or somewhere. So yeah. Oh, one more warning. Some types of Kalanchoes and Bryophyllums that are considered Mother of Thousands, such as Aurora and pink butterflies, the plantlets probably won't actually have any chlorophyll in them. So if you try to propagate them from the leaf or from the little plantlets, they'll actually end up dying because they don't have enough chlorophyll to photosynthesize because of their unusual white or pink color. Just a little warning. But other than that, if you can get a stem cutting, go ahead, go for it. Bye, guys.